Hello everyone, welcome to educators.com. This is Surya Prakash, your Unix trainer. This video is about flow controls in shell scripting. In this video, we will learn how to add intelligence to our scripts. We will have a deep insight into flow controls and how to use file operators, numerical comparison operators, and string operators with test. So far, our scripts has only consisted of a sequence of commands that starts at the first line while executing in the script and continues line by line until it reaches the end. So most of the shell scripts can do more than this, and they does. So they make decisions and perform different actions depending on the conditions. So one so it's like you're guiding your script. If some particular condition is met, so execute some process. If that particular condition doesn't meet, so execute some other process. So we can guide in this way, and we can do n number of operations in order to control the flow execution. So for this, the shell provides several commands that can use to control the flow of execution in our program. So you can see a list of commands which can be used for flow control on the screen. So if, for, while, until, case, break, continue, exit are some of them. In this video, we'll completely discuss on the usage of if statement. The if statement, like other programming languages, takes two-way decisions depending on the fulfillment of a certain condition. So if some particular condition is met, then it would give 1. So whenever a condition is fulfilled, if returns true. So if that condition doesn't meet, then if statement returns false. So if statement can be declared in three forms. If you observe #1, that is the first form. The first form indicates that if condition is true, then execute set of commands, and if, and after if we will give a condition which has to be met in order to perform certain number of commands which we are giving in that particular statement. So fi is used to close the if statement. The second form is if condition is met, execute some set of commands. If the condition doesn't met, then execute the commands under else. In the third form, we can validate n number of conditions. So if condition is met, then execute that particular set of commands. If that first condition doesn't meet, so then we are going for else if the other set of condition. So this can be second condition. So if even this doesn't met, we can give more conditions using else if. So that is elif is the short for else if. So we have to give elif. We have to use elif while scripting. So next, in this case also fi is used to close the scenario, close the if statement. So while working with the if statement, the condition has to be evaluated. So this evaluation process is done by test. So we'll now look what is test. So moving on, test is used to evaluate the conditional expressions. So if you see the synopsis, it's very simple, that test space the expression whichever you want to check. So the exit status, that is after the execution of that particular test, it would give some exit status. So if the exit status is 0, then we can consider that particular test has been resulted true. So if it results 1, then we can consider that test expression is false. We can provide a unary or a binary operators for this particular expression that is handled by test. So unary operations are majorly used in order to check the file statuses, and we can also provide string operators and numerical comparison operators. So we'll now look onto the terminal how to work with test. We are now on Ubuntu machine working on Oracle VirtualBox. So the test is simple to define. So test space the expression whichever you are looking for. So if you give 1 equal to 1, so this expression is evaluated. So I'm just checking. So 1 equal to 1. So if I run this command, so in order to check the exit status, you can use echo space dollar question mark. So echo dollar question mark would return the exit status of that particular command which we have executed previously. So if you check, it's 0. So it states that 1 is equal to 1. So we can perform the same operation on the other entity using Surya. So if I perform this, so we'll again do echo $, so it will display the same thing. So there are specific things which we need to consider, and there are specific operations which we can perform using test. So the square braces would resemble the symbolic form of test. So but while using if, we can use square braces, so in order to evaluate some particular test conditions. So the same above 1 equal to 1 we can test using this. So one open, that is square brace, space is a mandatory thing, space equal to 1, and again you have to give a space. So the two braces are square braces are treated with spaces itself, so we have to give space is a mandatory thing. So when you execute this command, so it's executed, and if you want to check the execute status, so it's a true scenario. So in this case, what would happen if we give 1 equal to 1 with no spaces? So at this moment our system will say that no command found, so command not found. So both the things are different. Take care while declaring this in your program. We can also find whether a file is existed in a particular directory or not, whether a directory is existed. So based on that directory existence, we can run our code. So all these things can be evaluated using tests. For example, but one thing to say that there are certain types we need to give when there are certain types of operators in order to work with these conditions. So we now look the first form of if statement. So I have a written program, so we'll just open that and we'll check so how to work. So I'm just opening the program which I have written. So if you observe the program, the first line tends to shebang. So next I've just given an empty line using echo, and next this program is to display the functionality of if form one which we discussed. So simply I'm just giving if. So this is a particular condition. If this particular condition is satisfied, then it would return this statement. This is the first form of if statement. So this is my code. So I'll try to execute this code now. So when I run this code, so using dollar, so one, so when I run this code, so as per the code, if we want to check the code, I'm just opening using in cat. I've just opened the code just for our comfortable in comparison. So if you observe that the first line has been printed with no condition, but when you observe this, we are declaring a number equal to 1. So if that particular number equal to 1, we are saying that then echo this particular thing. So as this number is true, so we are getting this. So in case if this statement is false, we cannot get this one. So in order, we can again change the. If you want to check the execution of the shell script, so there is a small change we can give here. So moving to the shebang, at the end, if you give at the end, if you give hyphen space hyphen x, so this would make your script when all the script which is running in the terminal would be displayed. So this is called tracing. We can now check how the script is running. So if you see, each and every statement execution is shown here. So the empty line assignment is shown, so we are displaying that echo statement is being added, so that is displayed here. So echo, so number comparison, how that happens, everything is displayed. So each and every line execution from your script will be displayed on the terminal using tracing option, that is space hyphen x in the shebang. So this is the first form we are using if statement. So we look for the second form now. So if I open, so this is the second form. So it's been in executable format, so I can check each and every line. So using hyphen x command in the shebang we have. Now if you check that I have a statement of if this particular condition satisfies, then it would be displaying this is a display from if statement. So else this would display that this is, so else statement would display. So as we are giving a positive condition, so we can expect the first line, so this is displaying from the if statement. So however, we'll run the code and we'll verify it. So underscore form 2.sh. If we run this code, so as usual, so this is, we have expected that this is displaying from the if statement. So the same has been resulted here. So whenever you have some doubt on your particular command in Unix, so by giving man and that particular name, so you can get the complete info of that command. So it just gives the manual for that particular command. If I want to check the manual for test, give man test. So this would give the complete information of that particular test command. So in order to move forward, give space, so it will take you to the next line. So it is giving the complete operators how we have to give and what are the parameters we need to pass in that particular. So I'm just coming out using quit option. So by using q you can come out of this. You can, this is a very helpful command for the developers and for any Unix user. We now look on to the third form of if. So if we see the code, you can understand. So here I'm just stating this: if number equal to 1, then it would display that this thing, and if the second condition is satisfied, then this would give the else if statement. So in that we are executing this particular program. We would now save this program and we'll execute the code. So clearing the output before that. So if we run the above code, so if we run the above code, so it is displayed here. If you see that echo program to display the functioning of if form. So I'm just doing the display of cat in order to just cross check whether our output is true or false. So if you see that number equal to 1, so our first condition is met. So in that case we can expect the first this is the display from if statement. So if you change the number to 2, then the second condition would be satisfied and it would result the this is from the else if statement. So you can play around with this code. We now go back to the slides to know the file operators, string operators, and numeric comparison operators. So there are certain operators provided with the test in which can be combined with test in order to know the things. So if you combine that test hyphen space a, and if you give a particular file name, it would return true if that particular file exists. And if you give test space hyphen d and that particular directory name, then it would return that true if that particular file directory is existed. So by using the set of things which have been displayed on the screen, we can work with the test operator for in order to check the file existence and file movements. These file operators are very helpful when you are working with code automation or whenever you are writing some specific application in order to run on your Unix system. We will check the working with all these file operators on the terminal. Before that, we'll also give a look into numerical operators. So in order to compare, in order to perform the numeric operations, hyphen equal to give equal to hyphen any gives not equal to. So there are set of operators provided which can be used with test in order to perform numeric comparison operations. So you can have make a note of them by looking onto the screen. So we have another set that is a string comparison in order to perform the string comparison. So whenever we want to know whether the particular string is an empty string or it has some data, so we can use a hyphen n str. So in the place of str, we can give the variable that is holding a particular value. So it would return true if the string is not null. So the similar to this, we have another option that is hyphen z str. So in this case, it would return true if the string is empty. We can negotiate this statement using exclamatory mark at the beginning, and we can compare two strings using s1 equal to s2, where s1 and s2 are the two strings. This would return true if s1 and s2 both are same, and we can also Also check for the unequal strings using the option which is shown at the fourth point. So we now log on to the terminal and we'll work with all the sets we have discussed now. So we are now on the terminal clearing the output, and if I want, as we discussed earlier, so test space hyphen f would display the whether a particular file is available or not. So before that I'll just list the available things here. So if I see that there is file one existed here, so for that I just want to check that particular file is available or test space hyphen f, and that particular file name, and whichever the file we are looking for, we have to specify that file. So I just want to check file one is available or not. So if we give this, the command has been executed. In order to check the status of test, we just give echo dollars question mark, so it would return the exit status. So it is 0, that states that file is existing. So if I work with the same command with unexisted file, so if I'll say that there is no folder name edu, so file name edu, so I'll just try to execute this. So in this case I would get 1, so which is stating that particular file is not existed. So we can use this while working with the shell script whenever you want to inquire for a particular file existence. So if you want to test for a particular directory, then test space hyphen d, and here I have a directory named desktop, so I'll give the same. So it would return the command 0 because the existence of the particular directory. So if I work with any other directory, so which is not existed here, I'll try to work with some other directory named edu. I'm testing for that particular directory edu. So if it exists, so it would return 0, as there is no directory named edu here. So we can expect 1 as an output. So we got the expected output. It states that this statement has been true. We can also execute in this manner that hyphen f, and file 1 would give the same result as the one which test space hyphen f file 1, as we didn't give any spaces between square bracket and the hyphen f, so it would now execute. So in order to check the echo, so by this we can state that particular thing has been existing, file 1 has been existing. So we can also perform the tests on executable if we can check that whether that particular file has an executable right for the current user, that is me. So I'm just want to check with some file. So, so for this file I would like to check whether I have executable permissions or not. So for the same, if I check that yes I have. So in order to verify that, if you give the file name, so if you check that I have an executable right, so the first one gives the owner of the file, I am the owner of the file, so I have executable right. So for that reason it has been thrown exit status 0. In case to know the read status, so if I want to check the read status, square bracket space hyphen r, and this R command would state that whether you have a permission to read that particular file or not. So this would be displayed. So in order to check, we have to give an again give this one. So I have a small implementation in order to I have a small implementation in order to understand the concept of files operators. So I'm just opening that particular file. So if you see that I've just in the first line we have a shebang, and if you see this entire program is to rename the file. So if the particular file name which the user provides exists, then we'll rename the file. If that particular file not exists, then we'll just simply give an error stating that echo file not found. So if you go through in the first line, we are taking the input from the user, and we are reading the same using read. So in the second, we are again asking the user to enter the new file name, so whichever he wants to change the file name. So, and next we are reading the new file name, and next, if the condition is that we are checking for the particular file, so if the old file executes, if this returns true, then we'll execute this command move file name. So in order to rename the file, we are using move here. So next, if the file doesn't exist, then we'll throw error name stating a file not found. So I'm just executing the same. So I'm just for that I'm just saving the file. So if you use rename.sh, So if you see that it's asking for the enter, so I have a file named file1, so I would like to rename that file1 to, so in the second file it's asking for, so I'll state that it's a new demo file, so we are writing something, so what it says that file1 file exists and rename it to new demo file. So as our file existed, so it has been renamed to new demo file. So if we run, we'll try running again with some dummy file which doesn't exist. So I'm just giving edu which is not existed. So and I also give another name, so edu1 is my new file name. So in this case the condition has been checked, so as the condition fails it throws the value at the else. So at else we have written echo file not found, so the same has been displayed here. So here in this case, if you observe, basically we have took the file name which doesn't exist. So even if we provide a file name which have no value, for if we run again, and if I'm not giving any value, and here I'll give some value. So in this case, it's stating that missing destination file. So we have seen some unusual error on the screen. So as we are giving the first input an empty string, we have encountered with this particular error. So as wants two perfect arguments. So in order to run the command move command. So at this particular time we can keep validations on our input using the string operators and file operators. So we'll now check how to work with the string operators. So we now open the file rename.sh. So in order to make a few changes, if you observe from after the first input, we are by using the string operator. So as -z and that particular string would return true in case this particular string is empty. So I'm just searching if in case my particular variable is empty. So then we are exiting the script stating that give valid file name and exit for now. So we can also ask the user in until we can also ask the user to enter the file name multiple times until he enters the correct file name using loops. We'll see about the loops in the next video. For now we are executing this file by saving it. So I would now execute this particular file. So if you see that as if I give a normal name, so that doesn't make the string empty, so I'm just giving an empty string. So at this case we our input is being validated. So at the validation stage you get to know that the string is in empty. So for that I've got this message. So if you again see the code here, you can understand. So if you see that if -z, so this condition has been satisfied, so it entered into this particular loop. So and for based on that, we our script has been executed, and we have abnormally stopped our program. That is, we prematurely stopped the program execution using exit command. So now coming to the numerical operators, so we can test the numerical operators using hyphen equal. For example, I'll just state this. So test 5. If I give like this 5 equal to 5 greater than 2, then we'll check what would be the output. So in this case, you'll get some different results as you expected. So it is stating that 5 greater than is 2 is false. So in order to perform the numerical comparison, so we can give hyphen eq then 2. So hyphen eq states that if 5 equal to 2. So we are searching that. In this case, we again check this command. So it is stating, so it's a negative scenario. So it's a false case. So when we do that, if we want to check greater than or not, so we give gt. So it states that 5 is greater than 2. So in this case, we can expect 0 as the exit status because it's a true statement. So we got the exit status as a true. So we can also check in this manner that 2 is less than. If you want to check for a less than, so we give lt. So it states that less than, and if we give 5, so we can expect, as it's a true case, we can expect 0 as the output, so we got the same. And if I run with the less than or equal to, if I say that in order to check less than or equal to, we have to give le hyphen le, so this would give less than or equal to. Based on this we will see the output. So yes, 2 is less than or equal to 5. And if you want to check that 2 is whether greater than or equal to, so we can give this. So this would give false, so it would be 1. So this is how we can compare the numerical operators. We'll just check the dummy program we have. We'll just do catalyst the programs available here. So we'll see the num operator.sh. One second. So my file is already being executed by someone. So I just need to open that in another mode. So as this file is being edited by someone, we'll just close this and we'll open some other file. So if we check that we have another file named pointer.sh, we'll see that okay, we have another file. So here we are doing some set of operations. So we have declared few variables: a equal to 5, b equal to 7, c equal to 10, and d equal to 5. I'm just doing the comparison operation. So if a is equal to $d, if it is met true, then it will, the particular echo statement would be displayed on the screen. So we'll now check this each and every line execution on the screen. So by this hyphen x we can do tracing of this particular program. So if you observe the second condition, we are writing $a is less than, we are saying that $a is less than $b. So 5 is less than b, so this is a true condition, so we can expect this one to be executed. So in similar we have a certain different conditions, so we'll just check whether how it works. So we have control.sh, so we'll just do this particular operation. So if you see that we in the tracing of the program, we found that a equal to 5, b equal to 7, and c equal to, so particular variables have been assigned. So here 5 equal to 5, so yes, it is equal. So in this case we have got, so our particular if statement has been executed and we got the particular output which we are looking for. And in the similar cases we got all the positive cases, so all the things have been displayed on the screen and all the if statements have been satisfied. So we now have another set of program example. We'll just have a look. So doing ls, we have a program named event.sh or event.sh. So when we look into the program, so we will say that, so it is a program where it is taking input from the user, and it is stating whether the particular number is an even number or an odd number. For that we are doing some modulo operation here. So number modulo division and particular 2. If the remainder is equal to 0, then we can say that particular number is even number. If the remainder is not equal to 0, then it would display the odd number. So if and else we are using here in this case. So we'll now run this particular program. So if I run this particular program, so it would now ask for the user, so it is executing that particular number. So I'll give 3 as an input. So if I say that uh, the value of the modular division is 1, so we have got reminder as 1. So 1 is not equal to 0, so for that reason it has given number equal to odd. So when we execute the same script again, so we give 4 as an which is an even number as an input. So in this case you can see that the reminder is 0 and it matched the conditions of we got the if statement executed. So this is how we can make use of numerical comparison operators, string operators, and file operators with test and in if conditions. So whenever you want to run your script, or whenever you want to control the flow of your script execution using the conditions, then if is the one which we can use. So logical operators are also available in the Unix shell scripting. So where this double ampersand would indicate the logical and double pipeline would double vertical bars, double pipelines, we can say that these indicates the logical or operators. So we now log on to the terminal and check how to work with these operators. So we are on the terminal, just clearing the output. So as and indicates, so when both the outputs are true, so then only it would give the prompt. So in this situation, I'm just trying to find a file. So for example, I just want to check, as we have multiple shell scripts, I would like to find bin in our event.sh file. And if this is true, and I would like to say that echo pattern found. So whenever the first statement would be executed, so then only, and my second statement execution happens. So when both the statements execute, then only my output will be shown here in this case. So if I execute this, so as both the things have been executed, so it has been shown. If I use another file name here, so if we give something named even, which doesn't exist here, so in this case we don't get any output. We'll just, so it just straight away throws an error. So in the earlier case, we don't have an file, so for that we got a reason. For example, if I'm searching for something called hell in event.sh, so if I do cat of event.sh, there is no word called hell. So my grep would result no case. I mean, grep doesn't have any answer for this particular query. So as this command execution is failed, so other command would also is successful, but in this case both the commands, I mean, both the inputs we are passing to the AND are not successful. So at this time we doesn't get any output. So if you want to see any of the output in the particular thing, so we can use OR, logical OR in this case. So we just see how to use logical so in the same uppercase, I'll say that, so whenever you want to write something, if your first statement execution will be failed, so if you want to add something to that, and if you want to make sure your second command should be executed, so at that time you can give OR command. So at this point of time, if my grep hyphen I hell in event.sh doesn't return anything, we'll get something like called as pattern not found. If the first one meets the thing, so then we'll get, for example, we'll give the, so in this case we'll get a different output rather than the other one. So I'm just changing this to for command, so we can use the same thing. So in this case I'll get only the first one as a output. So by using or, if I don't get the first output, we'll definitely get the second one which we are giving for the or condition. In the next video, we'll discuss about the loops and for loops, while loops, and the use of case statement, and much more information about the shell scripting. Thank you for watching our video. Stay tuned for more information.